At what moment did you realize, duck, I'm old? When I find myself grunting and groaning just to bend over to tie my shoes. When I fell down at work and no one laughed. Instead 3 people came running over to make sure I was okay. Edited to clarify, I'm only 36. I was walking in our break room and stepped down wrong, I guess. I fell into the stove and rolled my ankle. Thank you all for the awards. Kinda weird that my most popular post is about me falling down. Let me ask all of you that I was okay after this fall and have gone on to fall down 2 different sets of stairs and trip over my dogs on multiple occasions. My 12-year-old daughter's friend told her, the amount of times your mom has worn that outfit is astronomical, and when my daughter repeated it to me all my hopes of being a cool mom were crushed and I felt older than I ever have. When I went to a music festival and slept in a tent after 5 or so years of not doing so. My God, I need to get home and take a real shower. When I was in my late 20s I dated a girl who had a daughter. The daughter and I got along great, played a bunch of Katamari together, etc. Years later, that girl and I have long since broken up. I did some volunteer teaching at one of the local alternative schools with my wife. And one of students in the film class we taught was my ex-girlfriend's daughter, now 18 years old. At some point in your life, whether you have kids or not, you realize you're technically old enough to be a grandparent. And that feels very old. When I overheard my teenage niece and her friends taking the piss out of things millennials say. When my son could outrun me. Instead of growing facial hair to look older, I'm shaving it to look younger. I used to drive for Uber and one night I realized the college girls I picked up could have been my adult daughters. I saw a picture on Facebook of a friend from college and thought, damn, he got fat and old. I immediately realized, I also got fat and old. When I mentioned Mr. T to my wife's friend and she had no clue who I was talking about. They played Green Day and The Offspring on the classic rock radio station. When I'm signing up for an account on a website, I have to scroll back pretty far to find my birth year now. I just turned 30 and got a hemorrhoid instantly. Also, I have no idea how to spell hemorrhoid. I was playing basketball alone and a bunch of kids smashed a beer bottle on the other side of the court just for fun. I shouted at them, told them to pick up the pieces and warned them not to do that shit ever again. They got scared shirtless and apologized. I had never felt older. When I spotted a gray pubic hair, oddly this bothered me more than the gray hairs on my scalp. Edit to clarify, I'm female. I was teaching a class last week and told my audience that they may need to MacGyver a solution if they come upon a certain problem. No one knew what that meant. Because someone asked, it was an EMT refresher course. These are the people you trust with your life. Coming around the corner of a department store and seeing my dad come around the corner at the same time. It was a mirror. When I see popular Reddit posts mentioning celebrities with weird-ass names and I'm like, who the duck are these people? When my oldest daughter was in first grade, she brought a note home from the teacher, saying that my daughter had misbehaved. I had to sign it and send it back. My daughter was scared and tearful and it suddenly struck me, holy shit, I'm the adult here. I'm the authority figure who a little girl is scared to be in trouble with. To me, I was the same person I was when I was 16. Edit. Thanks for the award. I got a shooting pain in my butthole while at work and it took my breath away. Edit. I'm 28F, was waiting tables the first time it happened. It was awkward having to explain to my coworker why my knees randomly buckled lol. Also, I've never done sex. I was walking through Sheffield after work, about 7 p.m., around December 2013 I think. It was freezing. A bunch of students rounded the corner and a couple of the girls were wearing really short dresses, no coats. Thought 1, she must be freezing. Thought 2, that's something my dad might have said. Thought 3, I'm old enough to be her dad. Thought 4, why did I not think she was fit? Thought 5, when the duck did I start thinking like this? These thoughts passed through my head in what must have been only half a second. Getting excited over things like a new vacuum, new water heater, or a not plastic silverware tray. Realizing the Linkin Park album I like is 20 years old. Laughing when someone invites me out, especially at the start of the event as 9 p.m. I'll add mine since it was the reason I thought to ask this question. Last week I sneezed and it threw my back out. When a student nurse at work tells you she was born the year you left high school. The first time I decided sleep was preferable to sex. Edit, added a missing word. Kids born in 2002-2003 are in college now. Could have sworn they were always 8. I grew up watching Friends and remember an episode where Jack Geller, Monica and Ross's dad, talks about having to shave his ear hair. It was a funny, gross moment. I have to do that weekly now. I was at work and had a meeting with an ex-Olympic gymnast. She was stunning and had cosmetic surgery to enlarge her frontage. She was also wearing quite a low-cut top that had metal spikes in the shoulders. All, supposedly, very distracting stuff. My very first thought, I bet that jumper makes a noise in the tumble dryer. My second thought, duck, I'm old. The first time I sat on my balls. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, you should listen. When I took off my driving glasses and put on my reading glasses for the first time. But the worst one was when I saw a girl in a supermarket near me that looked exactly like a girlfriend I had a long time ago. I was about to go up and say something to her when this older lady grabbed her and said, "Caitlin, come here," and scowled at me. At that moment I realized that the old lady was my ex and the girl was her daughter. That was a low blow. I was just buying dryer sheets but instead I got my age thrown in my face like a punch from Mike Tyson. When my new doctor looked like Doogie Howser MD. For those that don't know that reference, point proven. Went to concert. Held up lighter. Everyone else held up cell phone. When a kid said, "What's a DVD?" Not even VHS. When I learned what I've been referring as pound plus XYZ is actually hashtag plus XYZ. I still don't know why it is called a hashtag instead of pound though. Today, Eminem is 48 years old. I loved American Eagle, especially their jeans. Went in one day and saw a t-shirt that said, "Totes Amaze." Turned around and exited the store. Haven't been in the store or bought clothes from them since. I'm so old I just buy my clothes from Target. How many years ago 9/11 happened? You relate to those progressive commercials about acting like your parents. When I learned that my 17-year-old niece had never heard of Weird Al Yankovic. Mail stopped being fun. It's just bills now and the occasional coupon book. Oh, and I get excited about coupon books. I saw a comment the other day saying that we're closer to 2050 than we are 1990 and that just made me feel old since I grew up in the 1990s. I'm 58. Bought a $2,500 electric skateboard couple years ago. I've never ridden it for fear of injury. When I was about 28 or 29, I added laughter lines to my Xbox avatar. That was a little joke because I was starting to notice them IRL. No biggie. When I was 35 though, I noticed my first gray hair. I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. Existential crisis. INITITATED. I was cleaning out the storage room and came across my old Game Boy. Said to myself, "Wow, this makes me feel old. It's been like 10 years since this was made." Got curious and Googled it. 1989. D. I was born after the advent of The Simpsons. I started watching the show before I was 10, and there came a point when I realized, I'm watching The Simpsons and am now older than Bart. Fast forward to 2020, and I'm almost Homer's age. Oh, what are the odds they keep making new Simpsons when I'm Abraham Simpson's age? If they do, I might need to go out for some frosty chocolate milkshakes. The worker at Dunkin' Donuts gave me a senior discount. I didn't ask for one. Adventure Quest sent me an email noting that it's their 18th birthday this year. I found that game in 2005. When I was rewatching Gilmore Girls for like the 20th time, a few years ago and realized I was the same age as Lorelai. When it first aired I was the same age as Rory. When I read my teenage nephew's Instagram and have no idea what he and his friends are talking about. I started work at a place that played an oldies station all day. It was stuff from the 80s and 90s. To me, an oldie is from 1960 or earlier. When I realized it's easier to just say, I'm in my 30s, than it was to remember exactly how old I am. I had to explain, to somebody I work with, who Cher was. When movie stars started being younger than me, the recent Star Wars trilogy, the most recent Spider-Man reboot, etc. When I realized that how I conducted myself on one day would still affect my body the very next day, and I could not longer just walk it off, sore feet, bruises, eating very bad junk food, etc. When I realized there were now people approaching their mid-20s who have no personal memories of 9/11.